Hi, it's George. I'm here with messages from spirit and interdimensional beings and all my angel guides. They're with me, and I got a message from you. First of all, I just want to say it's a new moon. It's a new moon in Taurus, and what does that mean? Well, a new moon, of course, is the time for you to make intent, to do. Uh, think about what you want to do and what let old things go if they're not up. You haven't let them all go yet. You need to let them all go, and focus on what you want. It's a beautiful time to make intent. This is the time of month or phase, if you will, of the moon, where the moon is dark. If you look out in the sky, mm, you can't see the moon. But today is the 17th here in Mexico City, 17th of May, and just a little bit is showing, just a little dinky bit. So it's almost a crescent moon, but it's not quite. It's still a new moon, and it's in Taurus. So what does that mean? It means because it's in Taurus, it's all about focusing on yourself, on self care, self love, if you will. You know, so often in our life, what we do is, focusing on everybody else and not giving ourselves any time, or not focusing on what's really important to you and your life. We give all the time. To feel fulfilled in your life, what you really need is love. To love everybody, and love everything because you're a part of everything and all things. Love conquers all things. But well, just living, what you think is really thoughts are things, and that's what I'm really want to talk to you about. This is the time that you need to really make sure that what you're thinking thoughts, okay, uh, is what you want. Don't be thinking, oh my goodness, I don't like them. I can't deal with it, or a situation or something. Think about what you want. What do you really want and what's really important? As long as it's good cause and it's real intent, all you have to do is put a little faith, your faith, whatever you believe, so it is. So when we enter this phase of the moon where Taurus, the moon is in Taurus, hey, your intent is very important. Make sure you make know what you want, think about it, and then what do you do? Thoughts are things. So if it's in your mind, okay, and you're really thinking about it, hey, you can work with that. What do you believe? Believe, if you believe something, that's your intent. How strongly do you believe that it's yours or what you want? That may sound a little wishy-washy, but let me just give it to you the way Spirit gave it to me. And that was through a card reading. So I was just reading, I did Moon Deck. I have a deck of cards, Oracle deck, which is basically all about the moons. Well, first of all, I just pulled this out because this is the time of month that the moon's in. It's uh, new moon in Taurus. Can you see that? Needless to say, it says prosperity lies ahead. It's all about making intent. And long term goals, this is the time to work on not only self love and self care, but also on you, abundance. This is the time to do it. Think about tangible goods, things that you can do. You can do it, and it's again, thoughts are things. If you believe, you need to believe in yourself, in your own divinity, and what I mean by that, you are a co creator. We talked about that another time. You are a part of everything and you create. What you think is so it is. Your reality is yours because you thought of it. It ain't what somebody thinks about you, it's what you think about them. And what is this card telling you? This is the time that you really make plans. Make plans, solid things, tangible things, things that you want. This is an earth sign. You're in Taurus. What is that all about? Things that you can touch and feel, real things. I mean, for you, your reality, what's real for you? I hope I'm not talking too fast, but this is what it's all about. If any of this content or anything resonates with you, hey, please punch a like. And if you will, subscribe, follow me and see what Spirit told me to tell you, okay? We are the ones, all my subscribers, I thank you so much for just even tuning in. But it's a message for you usually. I'm really impressed when I do this. I mean, okay, gotta do a reading, so I take the time and do that. You can also, if you want, you can always book uh, a reading for me, a private reading. I do them online, so I do it so just you and I are talking, and you can see what I'm doing. Um, this is a wonderful, wonderful time to manifest. Let's get back to this reading. Like I said, this is the time of the month that it is. A new moon in Taurus. Okay. So we know now that Taurus is an earth sign. Taurus is all about doing earthly things. What do you really want? Um, financial goals, you can work on them, career goals, and things like that. But it's also, when I pulled your cards, there's a lot happening here. This is what it's all about. These cards I pulled. Look at the bigger picture. In other words, think a little big, but take care of the little bitty things and stuff, but always move forward. So look at the big picture. This is what I drew, what's coming at you or coming to you during this period, right? It says, look at the bigger picture. So look around you. What do you really want? You probably already know. This is the time to put the intent out. So go for it. Go for it. Thoughts are things. Okay? So what are you thinking? Then this is what the moon is trying to tell you right now. Okay? What is the moon trying to tell you right now? A fury climax is approaching. Oh, you're getting ready to let things go. This is what this period's all about. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Whatever you've been holding, get it out of your way and put some plans or make some plans about what you want to do. But this is telling me that something's going on with my collective. Anybody listening to this, that you're ready to get rid of something. It's coming. It's coming. If you ain't got rid of it, the climax is coming because it's ending. It's ending. And the new moon's all about beginnings, right? So it's the beginning of the end is what's happening, okay? That's what that means to me. Now, what does it mean to you? We have to learn how to use our intuition. All of us have it. We have this little, I call it spirit, or your real self, the better you, the higher self is trying to tell you something. It always knows in advance. Time is, how would you say, not what it seems to be. You've always been, you always will be. Time is always. It's just, where are you at on that plane? Where are you at? So what is this telling you right now? And this is all you need to worry about, really, is what's happening now. It's always your intuition or your higher self kind of lets you know that something's coming. This card is telling you something's coming. You're about ready to get rid of something, or do something. So let's move right along here. Now, if you keep on doing, I don't want to say this. The cycle that you're in right now, this what this card is, the full moon in Capricorn. The end of a tough cycle approaches. Means that you've been through something. I don't know what you've been, maybe a little chaos. I don't know why I want to say relationships, but also with finances. You've been struggling, or things ain't quite right, or you got a plan that just ain't coming out right, or you're getting ready to implement it and you're procrastinating. All kind of scenarios like that. Whichever one fits you, it fits you. But what this card is telling you, the end of a tough cycle is approaching. So whatever you've been going through, one way or another, you didn't roughed it through. You made it this far, but you're about tired of it because It's telling you, look at a bigger picture. In other words, look outside the box. You know, you got to do it. And climax coming. Trust me, that's what the moon is telling you. That's what the moon is trying to tell you. Hey, get ready. Now, I did one of my favorite things, and I hope it's your favorite, because this is what Spirit always gives me. So you need to drink a cup of coffee. And drink a cup of coffee for all your collective, anybody that's listening to you, because it's a reading for somebody out there. Needless to say, I always see something in this cup that nobody else can see. But this time I want you to look at it when I look at it and tell me what you see. Okay, I'm just going to show you what I saw. Now, get this cup down here. If you look right there, let me see if I can get it up there. Good. Okay. I see a man's face. But at the same time I see a face, I see two masks. You know, like them kind of what do they call them when you go to a masquerade party? You know, they had a little mask on them, and you know, and I see two of them. So what that means to me, and then, well, you let me talk about that first. Okay. You can interpret it any way you want to. You interpret it, but what I saw again is the two faces making one face. I also saw a pair of lips, big lips. You see them lips? Okay. All them things. Can you see it? I don't want to rush you, you know, because sometimes you got to meditate. But you see the big face, and if you look closely, it turns into two masks. And the two masks, the cabaret mask, if you will, and then one big pair of lips. I see that clear as day, you know. So I'm gonna try to interpret that the way I look at that. Now, you know, it's two sides to every coin. There's two sides. There's a yang and a yin. You know, there's duality, if you will. Well, something inside of you, or it might be a person, you know, a person that, you know, you got a little conflict going or whatever it is, it's just not, you know, you need to deal with it, okay, to move forward. Because I see where stumbling over right here in the corner, where's that at? Okay, I don't know if you can see it, but right about there, the top of the man's face, you know, it could be, I see somebody climbing the mountain, okay? Can you see the mountain right next to it? Up at the top of it. That mountain turns into a volcano, and it also turns into, if you wanted to, it's a tower, a volcano or a tower. You know, in a tower means eruption. You know, you can't stay in it. The tower is on fire. You know, well, an eruption when you see it in the cup is almost the same thing, but you get a double one here. Can you see the tower? It's the tower, and like the Eiffel Tower. That's what it looks like to me. Okay, like the Eiffel Tower. But if you see what's coming out the top of it is a Scorpio. Boy, 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 you're stinging. Somebody's hiding something from you, and watch out, you know. So all these things are happening to you because it's a what? An eruption. You know, things are coming to an end. That's what the new moon's all about. It's a new moon, a new beginning. All this stuff is coming together to me. Now, I don't know what you see, but this is what it's about. I hope something that I'm telling you resonates with you. Again, if you see something that I'm seeing, then you need to punch a like and you need to subscribe so I can continue doing what I'm doing, okay? It makes me, give me a little push and I'll tell you some more, okay? So anyway, and comment in the bottom. Let me know if you saw what I saw. That's what I want to know. Did you see what I want to know? And where are you listening? Put in there where are you watching me at? Where are you at? Because I want to know more about my collective and people that are following me. Just punch in there. Hey, this is Chicago talking to you. Hey, just liked it. I saw the same thing you did. I didn't see that at all. One way or another. Would you make a comment down below and let me know what you think? Okay. Then, what the tower is covering up is celebration. In other words, I want to tell you, take your time, whatever it is, before you go celebrating. Uh, because this is covering, all that is covering three things. One is covering the cat. The cat is all about, how would you say? Cat is very independent. It's covering all that because whatever this conflict that you're having with this other person, them two masters, two sides, it might just be all inside of you. But I got a funny feeling it's another person that you're going to have to confront or deal with one way or the other, because it's like this card here is saying a fury climax is coming. You're getting ready to end something, some kind of way. It could be a business deal or something. Hey, one way or the other, you're going to climb this hill. You're going to finish it. You're going to do what you got to do. This is the most perfect time for this kind of happen. So this is kind of a good reading, because what it is, it's time for you to start the new beginning, right? A new moon, new beginning. The cat that is covering is the moon. The moon is all about, the reason why you can't see the sun is because the moon is covering it. The moon is shining. So on the other side, that's why you can't see the sun, or you can't see the sunrise. You can't see the new beginning at night, But sometimes you can see the moon during the daytime. The moon is out there, but the sun is just so bright, it just shines out and it shows off the moon. Well, when the moon is right now covering the sun. So all the things that are really there, everything is always there. The potential, the everything. This is the time that you make that intent and make the difference. Okay, let me just go back to this cup and its erosion. You see that Scorpio coming down off the top of that tower. In other words, the tower is burning. They got to get out of that. You can't go. So whatever's been stinging you, here in Mexico, everybody's about, oh, Scorpios in there, because they are all over the place. Little Scorpio. Well, he's got to go. He's got to go. That's what they mean by it's coming, one way or the other. It's got to get on out of there. All that negativity and stuff, this is the time to drop it. If you're with somebody that things aren't quite working out, this is the time that you're going to confront it, if you like it or not. That's what an eruption is. In other words, when a volcano goes off, hey, they say, well, it has been years and years, it's been bubbling, but it ain't went off. But all at once, you've seen them when they have them volcanoes in all over the world. Just the other day, I think it was one in the Philippines. People have to top the mountain off. And it was dormant all them years. They didn't even know it was coming. You heard it roaring a little bit, but they did not know that it was coming like it was. That's the same thing. Whatever's happening in your life with another person or something, you've been holding it back. They've been holding it back or whatever. But let me tell you something. This cup is telling you, you're going to climb that mountain. You're going to make it. All right? It's going to be all right. But you're going to have to confront it one way or the other. The moon is telling you this is the time that you make your intent. Know what you're doing. Plan ahead. So when the eruption comes, you're ready. Okay? Because it's coming. It's coming. I go so far as to say whatever the situation you're in, between now and the new moon, the full moon, which, hey, you can't help it. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This is a good cup reading, but, that's what it is. The sun going to come out, okay? You can't keep it down. You can't keep a old dog down. This is holding you and been hurting you for a while, whatever it is. It's been deep inside of you, and it's been messing with your money, your finances, your abundance of earthly things, your security. I don't know if you can work it out with that person or not. If it's a person, job, whatever, but you're going to have to deal with it, and it's going to have to deal with it real soon. You already know what it is, because, let me just tell you what, let me look in this cup a little bit more. I'm seeing some other stuff in this cup. Okay, look at this. Look at this. If you look down at the bottom again of that cup, you see them animals that's down at the bottom of the cup. It look like a big dog, a medium-sized dog, and a cat. And they're all looking up at what? That star. You see that star? They all looking up at it. They're looking up at the star. You know, so what that's telling me, you already know. You kind of the moon. You know, the moon is kind of mysterious. You know, it knows things you can't see. You know, it's thinking about something. It's intuition. It's your higher self talking to you or letting you know. Your subconscious, it's not to the surface. You ain't telling nobody. But what is it looking at? It's looking at what? A star. What does the star say? Hey, how I got over, you know how you wish upon a star. So whatever you make intent for right now, that's what's going to happen when that full moon comes out. Uh, I just see you being a total new beginning, a whole new you, because you're going through something right now that is going, it's it's gonna go away. My sister always say, no, no, no. Well, it's no, no, yes, yes, yes. Because you're gonna make it. You know you can. God gave you everything you need to go up that mountain. You see, and it's all hilly terrain. All that. If you look at it another way, looks to me like it's a mountain and stuff, and you got to climb it. It's just terrain. You're gonna do it. You're gonna do it. You just got to make them two masts in there. I want to tell you, it's about two sides of you. Two sides, one side. You got to make a decision. Come on, two decision making. You got to pick. Pick, are you gonna go up the mountain, or you gonna let that big face take it all over? And the lips is all about service. Lip, 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 lip. They talking, 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 talking. Just on your nerve, your last nerve. You're just done with it. You have been real quiet and been really good. Stay that way until you can't do it no more. Well, that's what you've been doing. You've been giving more in this relationship than you're getting out of it. I don't care if it's your job, the money, or whatever. You've been invested in something and you ain't getting enough. Oh, but the eruption's coming. It's coming. You're gonna win. Right, gonna win. Okay, and that's what them two little. That man is walking on up the hill. He done walked behind it. He left that stuff behind. You know how to leave it alone. Let it alone. Leave it alone. Let it go. Because if you don't, it's going to happen to you anyway. You just can't take it no more. You're done. The eruption's coming. Now, with them dogs and the cats, they wait to you with loyalty. And, the cat is all about independence, and everybody ain't got to know. That's what that's talking about. This is a very good cup reading. I don't know how else to tell you. Thoughts of things. The cats and dogs are telling you, just keep on thinking. But think very positively and look at the star that star there. Star, look at it. Because it's what you want, And you know what you want. That's what the cat is hiding. See the cat over there? Right there? It's a cat up there. And that mask and everything is hiding what you already know. You're very independent. You've been submissive, if you will, to whoever this person was. You ain't telling them what the truth is, but you can't hold it no more. This is this is heavy. If you're getting anything out of what I'm saying, you need to punch a light down. And again, comment and tell me what you saw. I'm looking to let you look at it again. But you saw what I saw. I wasn't playing with you. Okay. Now, I also did an angel reading for you. Again, how this resonates with you. And I think what this will do is put this reading together for you. I just drew 3 cards. What is this all about? you know, I pulled Eight of Aries. You see, Ariel. He's an angel, and he basically, this particular card and what the message is, it's almost a pentacle. It's a pentacle, Eight of Pentacles. You know, you've been. this is too take. You know, you haven't been giving yourself credit for all the work you've done. You know, and whoever it is holding you back and trying to say, let him go. You know, don't. You know, your own self-care. I'm just going to read it to you. Take great pride in your excellent work. Practice makes perfect. Okay, thoughts are things. Practice makes perfect. You know, you got to really think it every day. What you believe, so it is. Your thoughts are things. So, in other words, let me give you an example. You know, if you say to yourself every day, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, sooner or later, you're going to believe it. And the minute you believe it and you keep on speaking it, you'll speak it into existence. That's kind of the way things work. You know, we are all energy. We're all one thing. We're all source. You know, we can say it, speaking and thought. Thought is a way of communicating with the divine. Your thoughts are things. You know how sometimes say, you know, he knows everything. They talk about Santa Claus like that, and they talk about Jesus like that. You know, he knows everything you think. Well, then what do you make sure you know what you're thinking about? Because thoughts are things. You know, that's why, you know, people don't like, it's all about what you believe, you know, what your faith is in. What you putting your faith in? You're putting it in something that ain't worthwhile. And if you don't know, you need to know what you believe and what you think. Your belief system will make you manifest well, good things or bad things. It's up to you. You know, you have that divinity, that higher self. You are a part of God. You are a co-creator, and you have to use it like that. This card is telling me that you've been working real hard, real hard, okay? And you've accomplished it, and you know you did it, but you ain't getting no recognition for it, and you're not done yet. You're still working at it, because when you recognize your divinity yourself, you know, that you're responsible for all that, then you can move forward. This is what this reading's all about. And guess what? The moon is in Taurus, which is telling you the same thing. This is the time for you to go ahead and make some intentions. Make sure, because it's a long run. You know, like in other words, when you make this intention, whatever it is, what you want, God got it. You know, the spiritual, old spirituals coming to you. What you want, God got it. You know, God got it. You know, a blessing with my name on it. Well, all you got to do is just claim it. And how do you claim it? Name it and claim it. You heard people say that. I can say it any way you want to. But that's all about making intent. You know you've been working at this house. I want to get this house. You know, I'm going to make it in material things. I want this house. I want this house. If you say it enough and you're working at it, don't, you know, cause and effect. You know, you got to put something out there. By you speaking it into words, all you got to do is visualize it now. Again, thoughts are things. When you see something, it is something. You know, we're you can do it. This card is saying you can do it, and anything that's in your way that you don't need, you need to let go, because you've been working too hard. You don't need to be carrying everybody else on your back, whoever you are. This is what you've been doing. You're putting everybody else in front of you, and you study working, but you can't keep it. You're not going to get to the finish line carrying all that weight, okay? So this is what this card is saying. You look at that. Ooh, abundance, abundance, abundance. Abundance is coming your way. Now, I did tell you about this five, Michael. This is what's kind of happening to you now, okay? You know, or been happening. It's the five of Michael. Michael is all about thoughts. It's all conflict. Five is about conflict. Let me just read what this is. This situation doesn't serve you well. Release your attachment to the outcome. Consider taking a more uplifting approach. Yeah, don't let them drag you down. You know, think positive. Again, what you think, so it is. You know, so why do I want to say it's a person or something like that? I guess it's because I saw that man in the cup. And the maskers, they ain't telling you the truth. They lying to you. That Scorpio's telling you, all these things that whoever it is, when I say a man, I'm not, it could be a woman, don't matter. But it's a person, if you will, you know. So think about that. Think about that a little bit because you got to let all this stuff go. And it's a conflict. 5 is all about change and conflict and change. And what was that eruption? Change. The whole landscape is going to change. Boom, that mountain all the way to that peak, it's going to be gone. So go ahead and climb. Keep moving forward. That's what this is saying. We're going to move. Right going to win. Got that? Thoughts are things. Now, this is the final kind of out. If you do what you're doing and you do what these cards and stuff are telling you to do, move forward. Don't stop. If you work it, it'll work. Okay? Kina Ariels. Ariels, again, is Earth. These 2 cards are Earth signs or pentacles, money, things, and this is what's happening. You've been working and you just go ahead and move forward. The next card up, this is the 8. The next card up is the 9. It's completion and accomplishment, so you're just there. All you got to do is don't look back. Don't look back, move forward. Anything that's holding you back, you need to let it go. Let it go because it's a new moon. You can do all this. And look at this one here. The King. In other words, you mastered it. You mastered your material stuff, if you will. It says, your plans are working out very well, professional and financial success, using resources wisely. Okay, if you done what this reading said, if you got it the same thing I got out of it, it's telling you you're going to win. You can't beat that with a wet stick, okay? Say you're going to win, but you need to let that stuff go. I don't know who's messing with you, but you need to let them go or, fix them around. Sometimes you don't have to be, what I keep getting is, it's not working and maybe they don't know or they might know too, but they don't necessarily mean you good, so, if you got to do it, you need to let them go if you want to move forward. You want to go to the mountaintop? Come on, be the king, all right? And I mean, the king, the emperor, whatever you want to call it, but you need to be the boss. Be independent like them cats in your cup. They all over your cup. One, they was trying to hide one, but he was sneaking out looking. See the cat head there? Right main stuff. Said that head was trying to hide it. Well, he knows, hiding the moon too, So bottom line is, I suggest to you very strongly, you follow the phases of the moon and you probably be okay, but sooner or later, that eruption's coming. So you're going to have to deal with it. But if you deal with it, guess what? Your plans are working out very well. Professional and financial success is coming your way. Ooh, somebody getting ready to get blessed. Okay. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the reading. I enjoyed doing it. Spirit led me to go do one. And so if you just punch a like, let me know that I'm doing it. I don't want to bug you. You don't want to message out, let me know that too, I guess. And I'll leave it alone. But if you got anything out of this, please punch a like and subscribe. Hey, guess what? I miss you already. Bye, everybody.